3 videos. If you had told me at any point in the last 9 years that would only take me 3 videos to get monetized on YouTube, I would have laughed at you. But it honestly only took 3. And 9 years of failed attempts. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through how I finally got monetized on YouTube and all the lessons that if I knew 9 years ago when I first started, would have changed my whole approach to making videos. Now, this isn't a video about algorithms, tactics, or checklists. It's an honest story of all the challenges that if you're trying to make anything creative are gonna sound way too familiar. Everybody loves an underdog story, and here's mine. And just like every story, my story starts with once upon a time. Back in 2016 in Syria, I was still an architecture student and working as a freelance graphic designer, which is a skill that I learned on YouTube after watching hours and hours of tutorials. And while watching a lot of YouTube, I came across a YouTube channel by the name of Casey Neistat. I think you must have heard of him. And what I really liked about his content isn't really the way that he's showing his daily life as a movie and the quality of his videos, but the appreciation that he had for everyday life and the simple things that he was showing within his videos. And back then, a seed was planted in me. I wanted to do just that. I started noticing the beautiful things in my life, even while living through war. And I wanted to share that with the world because I didn't really like how my country was being portrayed internationally. And that was my initial why. I wanted to tell my story in my own vision, in my own perspective, and hopefully spread some positivity into the world. So the first lesson is know your why, because this why is the one that's gonna stick with you when things aren't going the way that you want it to. As you're gonna see in my story, things have definitely not gone my way. So, after the dream started, what did I do? I bought my very first camera. And for all the nerds out there, it was the Nikon D5500. Yep, don't judge, I didn't know any better. So, I had to do what I had to do. I got the camera late 2016, and if you've ever tried to use a semi-professional camera, then you know that you would basically know nothing about it. How to use it or how to get the most out of it or whatnot. So what did I do? I jumped back to YouTube and started watching other tutorials. This time it was filmmaking tutorials. And I came across...
What's up everybody, Peter McKinnon here, and today we're talking about B-roll.
I fell in love with his personality and the way that he was presenting his tutorials and the way that he was just telling his random stories. I started learning more and more about videography and started actually getting quite okay with it. Like, it was good back then, but now looking back at it, it was not good. Until one time we had a project for college. It was an architectural project, so we had to go on site and examine a few things. So I went with a couple of friends of mine and grabbed the camera. I ended up filming some okay shots, compiled them into a video and posted them on YouTube. And as you'd expect, it was not good at all. But at least I took a first step. I was so happy that I'm heading towards the thing that I actually wanted. But Syria being Syria, I could not continue on that route. See, even if I was not living in a direct conflict area, we've experienced all the side effects of war, including power cuts, financial crises. Being a student, especially an architecture student, I needed more money. So I started working as a freelance videographer, taking the skills that I have learned from YouTube and providing it to others. Now, at first it was mainly volunteering work, so I wasn't really getting paid for that skill, but it was so fulfilling because I saw the impact that a camera and a video has on people. Whether it was documenting NGOs projects while providing for the people in need, or documenting these people's struggles in order to get funds from international communities. And that was so fulfilling back then because it aligned so much with my initial why. I was using my skills to provide to others, to spread positivity to others. But somewhere in the back of my mind, I've always had this urge, this feeling like there's more to you, there's more to your story that you still need to tell. But because I needed instant money, and YouTube isn't really instant at all, I kept on going with freelance work. I kept working for others what I wanted to do for myself, basically. What it actually gave me is a whole lot of experience. It made me so professional on using the camera, framing the right shots, tell the story of others and whatnot. And those skills kept compiling up in the background, even though I wasn't really doing what I wanted to do, but the skills that I was developing were there to stay. To the point where I actually made a couple of short films that ended up winning international awards. And that is lesson number 2. Creativity is connecting things together. Even if you weren't working on your own creative projects, basically every creative project that you're working on will end up pouring more and more into your creativity cup. And of course, being inspired by Peter McKinnon and the videos that I've been watching, I thought, why don't I just make the same thing but in Arabic for my people? Teach the people the same way that I have learned in their own language. So I made a couple of tutorials, and of course, nothing clicked and nothing actually made me a YouTuber. What it did do is get me more clients. See, in 2022, one of my dreams actually came true. I was reached out by Yes Theory. They wanted to film their Syria video. Not even in my wildest dreams that I thought that I would be able to do that while I'm still in Syria.
First was Tuma.
That's a totally different story that I might make a video about it, so let me know if you want to see a video about me collaborating with TS Theory while I was still back in Syria. So I'll leave that to another time. But the main change that had on my YouTube journey was with one of the conversations that Thomas and I had while we were filming in Syria. I told him that I wanted to reach a bigger audience. I wanted to tell my story to a bigger audience. Do you think I should continue that in Arabic or should I switch to English? Because prior to that, all the videos that I've made, if I was talking in them, then I'll be talking in Arabic. And I really loved his answer. He didn't really give me one of the two options. He just told me to listen to my heart. And the reason why I decided to actually switch is not to reach the American audience or the people who are native in English, but because English is the most spoken language in the world, especially as a second language. Just like English is my second language, it might be yours. So I'm talking to you. I want you to be a part of this community that I'm building. And the lesson with this one is the same lesson that I learned from Thomas. Listen to your heart. You know what's right for you and how you want to represent yourself. So it's kind of like be you, but just in different terminology. I'm being cliche now. Yeah, sue me. So after that, I made my first English-speaking video, which was a day in my life in Syria, where I showcased the little details that I loved about my daily life in Syria. At least the ones who are still here in Syria. All the challenges and the way that we are overcoming them. And that video got featured on Yes Theory. It is still linked in the Syria video, talking about dreams coming true, but even still, the video didn't get enough traction. Then in 2023, I had to leave the country. I had to leave Syria unwillingly, due to reasons that I will talk about in other videos, so make sure to subscribe to see that one. And having the second worst passport in the world, the easiest option for me was to come to the UAE, especially Dubai. And I started working as a freelance videographer even here. Now, when I first moved, I got so many offers from different companies willing to hire me full-time. But I didn't take any of them. I risked uncertainty because I still had that dream of mine. No, I wanted to tell my story. I wanted to be a YouTuber. I didn't want to have a full-time job that would take most of my day, only to end up with a couple of hours at the end of the day to work on my own dream. And especially with how expensive Dubai is, that might have not been the smartest decision, but I still stand by it even at this moment. If you've heard any entrepreneur's story, then you know that you're basically trading a 9-to-5 to a 24/7. Especially as a freelancer, you're not just responsible for the creative work. I had to do the finances, I had to reach out to new clients, I had to reply to emails, stay in touch with them, build the story together, build the project together, and then submission, sending invoices, waiting for payments, and that left me with almost no time to work on my own projects yet again. And you can only imagine how frustrating that felt. And one of the stories that I really wanted to tell was this little tradition in Egypt. And being a resident of UAE, I can finally go to Egypt visa-free. And because I saved up some money from my freelance work, I decided to go on that trip and film that video and tell that story, believing that that's gonna be the story and that's gonna be the video that will change my trajectory on YouTube and finally make me a travel content creator. Booked the flight, flew to Egypt, filmed the story, and it was really, really, really amazing. Flew back to Dubai, got all the files to my laptop, and went back to work for clients. These footage and that video stayed on my hard drives for almost a year until I basically forced myself to finish it. See, what I was dealing with is something that's called the taste gap, and more specifically, it's ERA glasses taste gap. It's generally when your taste develops way more than your skills. Now, at that point, I had a lot of skills when it comes to clients' work, but where I was really lacking is telling my own story with my own voice. That skill I yet had to develop. See, I was so in love with the story and so invested in telling it the right way to the point where I was afraid to start editing that video because I know how that video should look like and I know that my skills, especially me being in front of the camera and telling it with my own voice, are still somewhere here. Despite the fact that I've done that for so many clients throughout the years. But when it comes to my own story, I was hesitant. I was afraid to actually start working on it. But even still, I forced myself to sit down and start working on that edit. And I put a deadline for myself to post it on a specific day. No matter how the video turned out to be and no matter if I got the story right or no, a deadline is a deadline. And finally, I actually did. I posted that video and behold, it actually gained some traction. Started getting 1,000, 2,000, 10,000. I was over the moon because I finally made it. I finally told the story that I cared about to the world. And I started to see the views go up and the watch hours also go up. Because as you know, in order to start monetizing on YouTube, you have to have 4,000 watch hours in the last 365 days. And that 365 days came back to bite me in the a year later. And that is exactly why I told you it is only in 3 videos, so hear me out. But okay, back to the video. The video was actually going good and it's time to make another one, right? What did I do? I did nothing. I went back to work and got bigger and bigger projects with bigger clients, gave all my time and energy and efforts to them, yet again. You know, I told you that I wasn't really present in previous years. This absent mindset has doubled. And I reached a point of burnout where I basically was working too much for clients and not doing anything for myself. And that was not a good feeling to have. So I thought to myself, okay, Tuma, what do you want to do? Like, what do you actually want to do? You have these amazing clients. You're not going to say no to them. So let's set a financial goal and a deadline as well. And then you'll jump all in on YouTube. So I worked more and more and more, project after project for client after client. And somehow through all of this, I made it out. And I actually managed to fulfill my financial goal 2 months before the set date. And I thought this was my time to actually shine and stick to this whole YouTube thing. To not get stuck in the same loop that left me sitting on the Egypt footage for more than a year. Now, when I first moved to Dubai, I found this little room, and back then it was all that I can afford. But with my creative mind and my architectural background, I started moving a few things around, adding some art here and there, and ended up actually transforming the whole room. And throughout the whole process, I filmed every step of the way. So I thought I might just make that video and post it on YouTube. While I was working on it, something very unexpected happened. If you've been following the news, then you have most probably seen what has happened to this country. Alarms started hitting our phones on a daily basis, and we were actually watching pew-pews going over our heads. So the day after the first strike hit Dubai, I picked up my camera, drove around the city, and filmed everything that I have seen. Then the next day, I came back, I put the footage on my laptop and started editing. Just to make a quick video to put out to the world and share that calm mindset with them. Coming from someone who has experienced way worse things in my home. And what do you know? The video actually did very, very, very well and got me more than 1,000 watch hours. Add that to the 2,000 hours that I've had before from the Egypt video. I was so close to reaching that 4,000 hours watch time and finally get my channel monetized. And the lesson with this is bring your own perspective. If it wasn't for my background and the things that I have experienced in Syria, there's no way that video would have come out the way that it did. When people were panicking and staying home, I was the one who was out there because of my experience, because of all the little details that I've been through, and because of my own story that people actually listened. And the feedback was actually good. See, remember what I told you that you have to get those 4,000 watch hours within the last 365 days? Turns out I posted the Egypt video around that time. So by the time that the Dubai video was getting more watch hours, the Egypt video was getting older and older, so it's leaving the 365 days mark. And instead of me watching watch hours go up, I was actually in race with time and watching my watch hours on the channel go down. And that is the next lesson. The more you wait for the right moment, the further the goal would be. Because I wasted that year not posting anything on YouTube, the goal was running further and further away from me. So please, if you have an idea, just put down the work, set a deadline, and actually stick to it. You're gonna thank yourself later. See, because I waited more than a year to post my next video, that means I'm basically starting all over again. With the Dubai video being the first in the new start. I went back to editing and started working on my room renovation video, thinking that that would be the video that would get me through the 4,000 hours of watch time. I posted the video and it didn't do well at all. But this time I had a different mindset. I didn't want the results to affect my mental status and stop me from posting the next one. So I worked on the second video, which is just the room tour, posted that one, and that was my third video that actually got me monetized. See, I told you I wasn't lying. I just received an email from YouTube. I am finally approved. Now, even though I was not actually satisfied with the final result, especially when it comes to color grading and sound design, but I forced myself not to overthink it and actually post it. And that leads us to the next lesson, which is done is better than perfect. What you see in your work is not what people are looking for. So even if you don't think that the video is perfect, it's better for you to just put it out there, get over with it, and jump to the next one. Every one of us has a different vision, and no one's gonna see the project the way that you do. Stop being the person standing in your own way. See, your audience isn't gonna watch what you haven't posted. So go out there, make your ideas come to life, and post it. We are waiting for you. Thank you very much. See you. Bye-bye.